Corey Anderson, Bellator light heavyweight contender, man. Is you feeling that title yet? Does it still feel a little weird? Is it sunk in yet?
It's starting to get a little easier to hear, you know. That was the sixth time in 24 hours I've heard that interview. So the first couple times, like, man, that's still new. But now it's like, got a ring to it. I like that.
I like it too, man. Obviously, you step right in there. We'll talk about the fights in a minute, but I want to ask you first about this health scare, man, because I got to be honest, man. I didn't know you were going through all that stuff, and when the news came out, I was like, worried for you and shocked a little bit. I mean, you hear your heart stop beating, man. Give me an idea, dude. Are you even thinking about fighting at that point? Are you thinking, man, I'm done and I'm just worried about my life and my health? What was that like for you, bro?
I never was set in my mind that I was done. The main focus was I wanted to make sure my family was good. Once everything was clear, if my family was on board with me still fighting, making sure we fighting for the right reasons. Like I said, figuring out my worth in life and getting out of it what I put in, it was like, all right, we'll go back. But at the same time, I was always set in my mind. We talked as well. If something came up where they said, all right, you can't fight no more, there's nothing to be crying about. We had 7 strong years. We made a way. We got business plans. We never sat on our hands thinking only thing we have is fighting. We've always been calculating for the exit plan for when we leave, what's next. So we was already ready to let the ball roll and keep going. But we're thankful and blessed that it all came down to nothing but a concussion. Doctors of course, they just had to look out for themselves. They had to assume the worst until they can count it all out. But it was definitely scary. It was scary. I ain't gonna say it wasn't. But at the end, they said, all right, you were right. It was nothing but a concussion. We can let you go now. That was the greatest thing that could have happened through that whole thing.
That's crazy. So you had reached that point where you're like, this career is over with. I'm done. It's on to the next.
We hadn't reached the point where we said we're done. We reached the point where it said, just in case. We cleared it up like, if this is it, that's it. There's no reason to come back to Jersey no more. We figured out, all right, so where are we going to go if we're not fighting, where are we moving? What's the plan? What are we going to do as for family? What district want to be in for the babies when they go to school? Where can we open up the best gym? Where can we profit the most business-wise? And we had all that stuff ready to go. So if the switch hit, they hit the button, say, all right, Corey, you done? All right, on to the next one. But luckily for us, we got all that planned out now and just still ready for when the fight game is over. We'll still open that book and go right back to work.
That's a big lesson, right? I mean, that I think everybody needs to be aware of, right? Like, you can't fight forever. You got to be thinking about what's next. I mean, who taught? Did you always know that, or did you remember somebody teaching you that? Because to know that maybe this career was over, but you felt so good about the family and the people around you, and that you were in the right space. I mean, that's important for a fighter to have, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, growing up with my father, the way my father is, he grew up with nothing, and now he's a wealthy man. So he's always told me, you never can bank on one thing, son. You always got to have a plan. Always got to have a backup plan. Always got to have a business plan. Always know the first thing might not work the way you want it to, but the second or third just might. I thought about it as for when wrestling, as for fighting. That first shot you take, you might not get the guy down, but the second and third, you might. So I went to school. I got a business degree, so I know the accounting and the finances, how to work the money, how to make money. And I always knew when I got into the fight game, I was like, all right, I can't do this forever. But this is a fast head start financially to get to where we want to be at the end of life. I can take the money I'm earning from fighting and invest it into what I want to do if I'm saving properly. So the fact, like I said, when it all came down to what if, it wasn't like, oh, what if? It was, all right, let's check those accounts. All right, everything is going the way it should. So if this was it, we're fine. There's nothing to worry about. We're going to be able to get the business started. It might be a little rough, but we're not starting from nothing. So I've always had that business mindset that this can't last forever. Use this to get to where I'm going. Now, I'll tell people all the time, you might know me from fighting, but I won't be remembered for fighting. When it's all over said and done, fighting is what got me to where I'll be remembered for. It was just a head start to get there.
That's awesome, man. That's a great way to look at it. So, all right, so you get cleared, you're feeling good. I guess what lessons do you take out of that? I mean, it's interesting, right? You say, thankfully, it's just a concussion. But just a concussion is still serious too, right? I mean, so what it sounds like what you learn from this is, when they give you those mandatory suspensions, when they tell you to stay away, like, don't try to be tougher than you are, like, listen to them. Is that the lesson out of that?
The lesson is just take care of yourself. That's the thing. When it all went down, they didn't give me a mandatory suspension or nothing. They literally stitched me up and just said, all right, you good to go. And that's what the lesson I learned there was, you can't depend on somebody else to care about your health the way you should. And I didn't really get that till like later on in the process, and it was still dragging on. And my wife kept saying, like, you're being selfish right now, Corey, because you got a me and a son, you got a wife and a kid you got to worry about. It's not just you anymore. So the biggest lesson was I got to take care of myself and make sure I'm here to take care of them. You know, that's the biggest thing. If I'm not here, if I'm providing, I'm the provider. That's my job, to provide for my family. Now, if something happens to me, then it's my wife's job to provide. I don't want that. You know, that's a burden I have to, it's hard. Even though I'll be dead, wherever I am, I'll be able in heaven think about it. I'll be looking down and be like, man, that should be my job. If I took care of myself, I should be there taking care of my family. And the fact that if the lack of me really caring about myself, that shows selfishness to my family. If I was something to happen to me, shame on me.
Yeah, fair enough, man. So luckily you're good, you're healthy, you're cleared. And basically at that point you go to the UFC and say, hey, listen, let's talk. I want to talk about money. And they say, we're not interested. Is that kind of how it went down? You just said, let's throw it out there and see what happens. And they said, nah, we're good with the contract you have.
No, I'm not exactly sure. I never talked to them personally. My manager's doing the talking. So I'm not exactly all the details of what came back to me. We had one fight. I took the fight. The kid Krylov was supposed to fight in September. And then he got hurt. And then they offered me another fight. And it was I can't remember who it was, but somebody he had like one fight or something. I don't even know the name. But before I even looked at the contract and said anything, I was talking to Ali like, look, doing all this, I realized my value. I know my value in life is. Like, we see if we can get a little more money to make this fight make sense, or whatever it is, you know. And long story short, when it came back to me, he was like, if the opportunity came for you to be released and we can go make more money, would you take it? I said, if we can make more money, whatever we can do to make more money, I'm with it. And then next thing you know, I got a call back and said they granted you a release or they gave me a release, however it happened. I was like, all right, cool. And I said, let's start making them calls. And within an hour or so later, we had an offer from Bellator this is the kind of money I'm talking about. This is what we need. Eddie Alvarez told me, he said, whenever, this was last year when Johnny Walker, I had a whole thing with Johnny Walker, same thing financially. And he was telling me, like, man, if you can get free agent, just test the waters, you know, test the waters. Anything can happen. And I could have waited and tested the waters a little longer because I am number 4 in the world. But at the same time, I didn't really want to go overseas. I wanted to keep it to where my family can make it to the events when that happens again. And it just happened so fast. And that morning I prayed on it, like, Lord, whatever happens. For some reason, I had a feeling something was going to happen that day. I said, whatever happens today, just make it be a smooth transition. Father, whatever you do, I'm not going to fight it. And literally, I get a call for a fight after I was done sparring. And the ball just kept rolling. But like I said, everything happened so smooth. And then an offer came. Like, to my wife, I told her, like, this can't be nothing, but I prayed on it this morning. I can't fight it. You know, just let it happen. If this offer is there, we're going to take it and go with it. You know, it was, and even then when the offer came, it was like, dang, are you really ready to let go of that name, UFC fighter? You know, that you've been here your whole life. It's my 3 fights and I was in the UFC. So growing there, it was like, man, I grew in this place. They gave me the platform to be who I am. But at the same time, I thought about it, well, being on that platform made it possible for me to get this offer. So that speaks volume. We're going to take this. Granted, we won't be fighting for the UFC belt no more. It's just this big epiphany. Everybody knows you want to be the UFC champ. But what's the difference in the UFC champ, Bellator champ, whatever? Everybody say there's different levels. When we go to college, the way I thought about it, you got Division I, you got Division II, you got Division III. I was D2. I could have won the champ. I believe I could have won nationals there, and I went down to D3. At the end of the day, it was like, as long as I'm the champ, it doesn't matter. That's an accomplishment to be the champ wherever you are. So I said, let's do it. Let's take this contract. We're going to get more finances for my family, which is what I really want. And we're going to have the same goal. Go here and be the best.
That's what I wonder is if, like, that's a lesson that maybe other fighters can learn, or that I don't know if you are interested in helping teach that or helping spread that message. I mean, it's always been interesting to me because, as you said, every fighter, I think, I want to be UFC champion. And I get it, man. It's the dominant brand. It's understandable. But at the same time, if you can be somewhere else and put more money in the bank and set yourself up for a better future, isn't that the smarter play than saying, I was UFC champion, but, now I'm struggling versus, well, I was Bellator champion and it's still a champion and look how much more money I have in the bank.
100%. I mean, that's the end thing I came to was at the end of the day is calculated risk, just like a fight. you're only gonna take a fight if it's worth it. That fight doesn't make sense. If I was only making 10-10, they wanted me to fight a number 3 or the champ fight for the title for 10-10. That makes no sense. Why would I do that? But if I fought another guy at a lower level, I just got in the UFC 10-10, it's fine. And that's how I felt like I was. The money I was making, like, why am I still like before? Like, all right, let's do it. I signed a contract. And it was like, why would I keep fighting these top guys? I've fought nothing, 15 fights, 13 or 12 of them been top 15, 10 of them been top 10. It's like, why would I keep fighting these top guys and I'm like not even asking for more money? Like, I'm just okay with it. And that was the same thing I thought about. Like, okay, both organizations, UFC, Bellator, they got the same risk. You go out there, you get knocked out, an arm broke, anything can happen. Now, one has the UFC belt and the other one has the Bellator belt. One doesn't have sponsors, one has sponsors. One is only paying you a medium when the other one is paying you your worth. That's the calculated risk you're gonna take. Well, I'm gonna take more money, a belt, more opportunity, and the same risk than I would in the top organization. So it was kind of like, for me, it was a no-brainer. It was like, I'll be stupid if I pass up this opportunity because I want that 3-letter word or 3 letters in front of the word champ. So I went from UFC to Bellator off of that.
I dig it. Have you started scouting the division yet? I mean, I know there's a couple names that have made their way over there from the UFC that you probably already knew, but I imagine you weren't really scouting them before now. So have you had to start watching some tape and figuring out who's in the division and what makes sense?
Yeah, I've already. I mean, anybody knows me, Corey studies film. That's it. And late at night, I'm watching YouTube on my phone or down in my archery shop working. I'm watching, studying these guys. Right now, I've been watching the Bader and I can't forget the kid's name. He's fighting, but no, yeah, him. I've been studying those two right now because they up first. I had did enough of Phil Davis studying when I went out to help Bader. When I helped Bader prepare for Phil Davis in the UFC and Bellator, I studied his films all day so I can fight like Phil Davis to help Bader. So I'm pretty vivid on what he's gonna do, but I'll study his last couple fights again when the time comes when I'm done with these two. And I'm just gonna go down the line. I'm just gonna look at the roster, and as I talk to the Lyoto Machida, I'm gonna go down and just take notes on each person. So when the opportunity comes, it's not like, all right, what do we need to worry about? It's, all right, this guy's good as this, so coach, what's the game plan? And we just gonna get the ball roll.
I imagine if this was a normal world, you'd be at the title fight next week, but obviously it's the bubble and the fight sphere and all that. I mean, is there any talk at all about going out there, or can you go watch fights right now with all the enclosed environment and everything?
I haven't even thought about asking. Like I said, I've been helping DC and traveling so much. Even that was like tough. I come back, I gotta get a test, and while my test come back, I'm sitting here just waiting. I'm training in the garage. I turn my garage into a gym, but it's hard when you self-train. I don't want to bring anybody over to train with me and risk them getting sick. I don't want to go to the gym and risk people getting sick. We got Frank Yeager fighting next weekend. I couldn't go there and possibly spread something to him. So the fact of me traveling again, if I asked and they granted that opportunity, I'm sure they would make it a way, like give me credentials or something if they wanted to. It's still that chance of me having to come back and then wait again to train. As for, I can just watch it on TV, stay in my bubble, and keep training every day. I got my positive test back yesterday, so now it's like, all right, we back on the grind, nonstop, all gas, no break.
I think I know the answer to this as you're wearing the OT hat there, but did Bellator possibly say, we'll sign you, but you got to go back to Beast in 25-8 because that's the better nickname?
No, they didn't say that, but actually a second ago, and the guy made a good point, like I can bring sponsors back, and Beast in 25-8 is my company brand. So I can just put Beast in 25-8 on the shorts and still rep the name OT because the company is still Beast 25-8 LLC. All my shirts and everything comes from Beast 25-8. So the name will be on the shorts. You hear it here, people. The name will be back on the shorts.
Thank you. No disrespect to overtime, but Beast in 25-8, that's legendary, man. It's like we get to see it on the shorts.
That's it. It will be on the shorts. I don't know about the ass. If somebody want to pay for the ass spot, they can have it. But it's going to be on there somewhere.
I dig it, man. Well, cool, man. Well, obviously excited for you. Give me the plan, man. I mean, is there a date that you're looking at where you want to make your debut? And, I mean, do you feel like you should walk into a title shot? I mean, as you said, I mean, you're ranked as high as any of them in the world. I mean, do you think you should walk into a title shot, or do you feel like you got to get one under your belt at least?
I mean, I'm not going to say I feel like I should, but I feel like I could. You know, if the opportunity came 100%, it's not going to be like, oh, I need to warm up, or I think I don't deserve. Hell no. They say, Corey, you up next. Let's get it. My cardio is better than anybody. It always has been. So 5 rounds is nothing. My skills is up there better than everybody. It always has been. Now it's just mental. I just got to believe it. Like I said, going out there training with DC, he helped me realize, and he kept telling me every time, like, kid, you're good. Like this is stuff we never seen. Like, I can see it. Like, as a commentator, I see it from the outside, but now I've worked with you for 2 weeks, and I'm telling you right now, there's no reason why you shouldn't be the UFC champion. There's no reason why you shouldn't be the UFC 205 champ. Like, you are good. Like, you just got to slow it down. That's my problem. I go out there rushing. I try to put my cardio on people too fast, and I get caught. Nobody's ever beat Corey Anderson. Nobody's ever looked at the stats and say, damn, Corey got his ass whooped. No. Every fight I've lost, I've been winning in the stats. Even the Yan fight and Jimmy Mano. It happened so fast, but my punch output and kicks are still up higher than everybody. I get caught. I rush too much. And he told him straight, like, look, dude, because I was fighting like Stipe. Like, if you go out there and you sit patiently and just wait for the opportunity to capitalize, there shouldn't be a problem in the world for you. He said, because I'm beating all these guys. And I know what you can do just from training with you. So there's no reason why you should be out there rushing and getting caught no more. And that's just it. Now, I just needed somebody. Like I said, my coach has been telling me you could be the champ. Frankie Edgar said it. Eddie Alvarez said it. David Branch. All kinds of people tell me that. But when you have the actual champ, the double champ, finna be the world's greatest when he wins this weekend. When he sits there and tell you in your face in his house, like, dude, there is no reason. And he said it like with a straight face, serious. And he tells people, like, this kid just gave me all the work. Like, this kid is good. Gave me some of the best sparring I had in a while. Compared to, like, Cain Velasquez and stuff. And that's what he says. It's like, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing wrong? And he told me, you just rush too much. You got to be patient. You learn how to be patient, and it'll be a whole different game. And that's what it is now. I just got to slow it down and take those calculated risks.
Give us the insight on DC, man. You think he's done after this weekend, or do you think they lure him back in? I mean, as you said, he wins this. Man, he's got some accolades. I'm sure the UFC is going to want to pay him them big bucks to bring him back for one more. What do you think?
We talked about that too. We said, like, one of his coaches asked, you ain't going to be done. Like, yeah, I am. Like, no, you ain't, because just like they always do, they're going to offer you more money to bring you right back. Like, look at George St. Pierre. St. Pierre said he was done. They're trying to bring him more money back to fight Khabib. And he wants to be done. He's 41, got another kid on the way. He definitely wants to be done, but at the same time, the competitiveness in him, I think if they offer him enough, he might say yeah, but my advice to him is, like, I told him, like, bro, your mindset, you want to retire. You got the commentating. You got all this stuff going, the Ariel Hawaiian little podcast y'all been doing. Everything is going good. If you got enough things that's making ends meet, there's no reason to keep fighting for it. Like, you did it. All the accolades. Why risk your legacy anymore when you already there? You win this, that's it. You walk out on top. There's no more reason to take risks. The calculated risk is over. Go take the safe bet. Do your commentating. They love you on TV. Nobody does it like you. Go out there and do that, man. So either way, I wish him the best. If he want to keep going, I'm still going to be there to train him. I'm going to train with him and help him. If he's done, I'm support that as well. I'll be watching him commentate and still sending him love. But hanging out with somebody like them at the level he is and insight he gave me, the things we talked about, it's definitely it's an eye-opener. Make you realize this game is more than just fighting. It's life and it's a business.
That's awesome, man. Well, brother, I appreciate all the time today. Last question I got for you, man. What do you think the mindset's going to be when you do make your Bellator debut? I mean, are you going to go out there with, some nerves maybe about, like, I got to make an impact in my first. I got to show that they invested in the right guy. Are you going to go out excited? You sound excited, like this is a new chapter, like a fresh start. So, I mean, when you step out there for your debut, what do you think the mindset's going to be?
I'm very excited to be in there, but the mindset I've already said is going to be cool, calm, and collected. Cool, calm, and collected. If I go out there with those 3 C's and just chill and let it happen, do what I train, that's what you train for. You train and get all that, the anxiety, the energy out. I remember Frankie Edgar told me that before the tough finale. I was so excited, like, bro, keep that the same energy you got now, just do it when you fight. Because right now, if you keep that excitement, you're going to burn it out, and you're going to go out there and perform a little different than you are now. If you fight like you training, you're going to set fireworks off in the finale. And like you said, 60 seconds later, I set fireworks off. So now I feel the fights like Jan Blachowicz. I went out there with that mindset. I have to make an impact. I did everything to get that title fight, and every time they say I don't deserve it, I got to go out here and make an impact so they can say, this is my fight. And it cost me. Instead of fighting like I should have, I was trying to do something big, land a big punch, chase him down, and I end up getting put to sleep. So if I go out there and do what I do and just win, that's the good thing about Bellator. You don't have to be out there and be flashy and sell yourself to be able to get a title fight. You win, you move forward. You beat this guy, you take their place. So if I go out there and do what I do, whether it's boring, whether it's exciting, just do me and dominate. That's all I'm trying to do, dominate and get this check and get to that next spot.